Look at those trees! Look at these crystals! What the heck is that? It's ChromatiCraft! Hello YouTube, SentinalhMC here with episode 1 of our ChromatiCraft tutorial series. I hope you enjoyed the intro. I had a lot of fun making it. So yeah, we're here in ChromatiCraft. This is a pre-release version. I don't know when it's coming out, but Reika's given it to me and we're gonna show it off a little bit. So, this first episode, we're going to talk about the primary mechanic in ChromatiCraft. Other than the magic, of course. And that is the progression system. ChromatiCraft utilizes a progression system which relies on the player going out into the world, finding new things, doing experiments, and as you do these things and go through a pretty normal play, really, as well, you will acquire new knowledge and you'll be able to do more things. Now, the way you get started in ChromatiCraft is by using this book, the Chromic Lexicon, and you get it right from the start. As soon as you load into a ChromatiCraft world, you are given a Chromatic Lexicon. This is your Bible, it's your encyclopedia, it's your dictionary. This is it's the most important thing you have. It's a lot like the RotaryCraft and ReactorCraft handbooks, but it's also very, very different. So if I right-click to open it up, you'll notice the first difference right off the bat. It looks quite different. Instead of a bunch of pages with an index and stuff, it's this sort of a screen. You can use W, A, S, and D, as well as the arrow keys to scroll around it, but you'll notice that when you first start, there is nothing here except for this first page that says Entry Level Getting Started. And now clicking on this brings up another page that gives you a little blurb. It basically tells you, hey, you need to go out and populate it with information that you collect as you explore and experiment. So it's just saying, hey, go out there, you'll find knowledge, you'll find stuff, and you'll know how to do things as you play. This is the progression system in a nutshell. There are two ways that you progress, and you have to do both of them. One of them is by finding these things called info fragments, and we'll talk about these in a moment. The other way is if you go over to this page here, and it won't look just like this because I've already gotten some things unlocked here, but each one of these is basically like an achievement. You click on it, and this is what they look like in the beginning. It gives you a title, it says things like this, hey, trees in various colors, but this, and then this little blurbled out thing that says there's still much to learn. Once you have accomplished what this is alluding to, usually simply by exploring the world or doing the thing that it mentions, text down here will fill in, and as you can see, some of these are connected to other ones by lines. It's like it forms like a web of tech progression as you do these things. If we go over here, we find technicolor trees. These trees seem to come in all sorts of colors, talking about the dye trees, because several mods that Reika has made are now part of ChromatiCraft, mainly dye trees and geostrata. This one here says world floor. Is it possible to dig too deep? It's pretty obvious what this one wants you to do. It wants you to dig down to bedrock, and once you do that, it'll give you a little blurb here. And it also connects to this one called the evil realm. Quite obviously means go to the nether. This one here, that's about finding these cave crystals, which are from geostrata. I've already found some in the course of doing that intro, so it's already filled that in. Finding secret burrows. So it tells you there are things out there to do and get. Telling you that there are secret burrows that spawn, or that there are cool trees, or buried hollows. Giving you an experiment here, what happens to your knowledge when you die. Or this one here about magical trees, or this one here about finding an energy beacon. There's one over there that are dotted around the world. So this is how you progress. You accomplish these tasks, and you also find info fragments. All right, and now let's accomplish one of these tasks so that we can see what happens. Right here, magical trees. Trees in different colors are one thing. This, and I'm pretty sure what it's talking about, is the rainbow tree. And you can find these out in the wild, but I haven't been able to find one in this world, so I'm just going to plant one. Hopefully it will grow with bone meal. Come on. Grow. I don't know if there's something else I have to do. Maybe I have to plant more than one next to each other. I'm trying to get it. Oh, there we go. Yep, needs more. So we've now found a rainbow tree. That's pretty cool. If I go into survival mode, which is probably part of it, see, look. It gives me a blurb on the right side. Never before have you seen a tree with leaves like this. Every color of the rainbow. So if I go over here now, There, it's filled this in. The raw magic energy in this tree is palpable, not to mention behind the impressive visual display. So that's how you do this thing. You accomplish these tasks, and it fills that in and gives you a little bit of information. It also gives you guidance as to the kind of things that you should try next. This one here, damage and discharge, means, hey, are these pylons friendly? You walk next to one, you get shot by it, and it fills that in. And that one connects, it doesn't connect down, but some of them do, like fabrication or elemental awareness. It gives you guidance. So now let's talk about info fragments. The main way of getting them is to find them is just to find them in chests. So as you explore the world, you'll find dungeons. Oh goodness, I'll explain that in a second. You find dungeons, you find abandoned mine shafts, you find various loot chests, and they can all have info fragments in them. There are also various types of dungeons or other things that are spawned by ChromatiCraft. You find one of those, you have a pretty good chance of finding knowledge fragments. Okay, info fragments like these. Once you have some info fragments, you can hold shift and right click to open your book, and it brings you up with this little GUI where you stick the fragments in the book. And now when we open the book, we can see here that crystals is now in the book, and there's also the casting table is in the book. So this is how you progress and learn about the new machines and blocks and stuff that you can make. So the casting table is basically ChromatiCraft's work table. We're going to talk about this in depth in the next episode probably, because the casting table is pretty important, or in a future episode. Don't hold me to anything. But if we click on it, it'll give us information about it. There's no extra pages for this one. But if you want to know how to craft it, that's what this button over here is for. If we swap down here, we get to crafting mode. It'll show you a little image that tells you what kind of a crafting table you'll need to craft it. Like this is an image of a vanilla crafting table. It says, hey, you can craft this in a standard crafting table, and it'll give you the crafting recipe. So this book it gives you all the crafting recipes for the machines that you've discovered, as well as telling you about different things, telling you how these crystals give you various status effects when you stand next to them, and various things like that. Okay, so how do we go about getting these info fragments another way? Because there is another way. I'm going to go back to game mode 1. I'm going to turn my UI off. Because when you get close to one of these pylons, your screen starts to wash out with the color of the pylon, but the yellow one seems to be especially obnoxious. So I'm definitely going to turn my UI off so I don't have to deal with it. Okay, so the villagers in this village, there are a lot fewer of them now, because for some reason they seem intent on congregating around this pylon, and they've been getting killed by it. Now, these pylons are another way that you can get info fragments, because what happens is that they shoot at mobs. Now, when they kill an intelligent creature, which is coded as a villager, a witch, or a player, it might drop an info fragment from their body. For witches and villagers, it's about a 1 in 4 chance, Reika has said, roughly. For players, if you die to one of these, you are guaranteed 1 info fragment, and there's a chance that you might get another one. But you can't farm that indefinitely. There is a cooldown after you get that happens, where it will still kill you, but you won't get an info fragment. And I'm not going to tell you what the cooldown is, so that you can just have fun trying to figure it out. But this villager is getting pretty close to the pylon. I'm going to push him closer. Oh, he's walking away now. There were a lot more villagers over here. I'm going to go away from the pylon so that I can get my UI back, so that I can grab a spawn egg for villagers. Or maybe no, I'll spawn a witch. They're probably less likely to dart off. So let's turn the UI back off so we don't have this crazy yellow color. And we'll spawn a witch. We'll spawn a couple of witches. Now the way that these pylons attack things is that every couple of seconds they scan an area around them that's either 16 blocks in radius or 32 up to 30. Well, no, up to 16. So the danger diameter around the pylon is roughly a circle drawn around it, or a square, I don't know which, that's 33 blocks across. And every couple of seconds it will scan an area, and if it finds a mob in that area, it will shoot it. It's not shooting these ones. You see right there, I just shot them all. Come on, kill them. They probably can't. They're drinking potions too quickly. So let's go back to spawning a villager. We'll spawn some villagers. Well, they're immediately walking away. That's why I didn't want to spawn villagers. I will grab a fence. So when that villager dies, it has a chance. And he did drop one. Okay. He had a chance to drop an info fragment. And so he dropped one. But it's a blank fragment. I don't know what those do. I don't know what they're for. But he dropped one of those. And so that's one way that you can get it. So finding a village like this, where the village is right next to a pylon, might be a cool thing. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to stand over here. We're going to go to game mode 0, which is survival. We're going to stand by this pylon. It's going to kill us. Takes a couple of shots. Alright, now we're going to respawn. We'll go back to game mode 1. We'll go over to where we died. Make sure I click all my things. And I should have an info fragment. Got quite a few blank info fragments. Alright, it might have been, it looks like I got a bunch of blank ones. So I don't know how to use those. Maybe you can do something with them. But you can get info fragments from that. So yeah, this is how the progression system works. You find info fragments, you put them in a book, and it unlocks new recipes and stuff. You cannot cheat this. If you go to a wiki for ChromatiCraft, if one gets created, and look up recipes and try and make them, they will not work. Until you have discovered them. It's a bit like Thaumcraft in that regard. It's kind of like Thaumcraft's research system, but this one, rather than being based on a little minigame, is just go out in the world, do stuff, and gain knowledge. Alright? That's pretty much all we got for this first episode. I'm SentinalhMC, and I'm signing out.